I'm Roland the Radical Recycler, and it is good to see you here at Summer Bible Adventure. I am here in my special Roland the Radical Recycler outfit today, and you can see I'm wearing all recycled clothes. I have my special Roland the Radical Recycler hat on with my recycling items on the top. I've got my Roland the Radical Recycler cape, which helps me to really get energized for recycling. And very special thing, here is my recycling truck toy that helps to inspire me for recycling. It is good to see you. It is fun to be able to talk to you today about what is so important for me, recycling and taking care of God's creation. And I see somebody over here. This is Corey. Come on over, Corey.
Hey, Roland. Hey, guys. My name's Corey, and some people call me Corey, the creation caregiver. But Roland, I've been having a lot of questions lately about what that even means. I mean, I'm kind of struggling to figure out, how do you care for creation? Are you also struggling with that? I don't know if anyone at home is, but I've been having a lot of questions lately. So Roland, would you mind helping me out? What does that mean to care for God's creation?
I would love to tell you about that, Corey. Corey, the creation caregiver, is trying to figure out how to care for God's creation. I am still trying to figure that out, Corey, and that's an okay thing. But it means we should just start, and we should figure out as we go, and God will help us to do that. So recycling is a big part of that, Corey. Did you know that?
Roland, somebody told me recently that in order to care for God's creation, I should know about recycling, but I don't really know what that means.
Okay, good question. It is so good that you're asking questions. And kids, I hope you will ask questions too. When you don't understand something, please ask. So recycling means you take something that somebody could throw away, or that might be something that you would waste, but instead you save it and you reprocess it or remake it into something new and useful, so that that thing doesn't get wasted. It turns into something that can be used afterwards. Isn't that amazing? That's what recycling is, Corey. Yes. Yep.
Wow, that's really interesting, Roland, but I'm still having a little bit of trouble. So could you give me an example of recycling? Like, what is something that I could recycle?
Okay, well, thankfully I have good examples right here on my hat. So here we go. You could recycle some paper. Do you see this paper here? Paper can be recycled as long as it doesn't have a lot of oil stains or food stains on it. It can be recycled. And I'm going to let that car go by because it's a little bit loud. We can also recycle cans. Like this aluminum can right here can be recycled and turned into other aluminum cans, be turned into new aluminum cans or other kinds of aluminum that can be used. Those are some great examples of recycling.
Whoa, that's pretty cool, Roland.
Yeah.
So I know that some people call you Roland the Radical Recycler, but why do they call you that? What does that word mean?
Radical, it really is a word that means going to the root or getting to the heart of things. And so for me, recycling helps us get to the heart of what it means to care for God's creation. I am so passionate. It is so important for me to take care of God's creation, to help the environment, to care for God's earth. That recycling is really what I do all the time, okay? It is so important. I am the radical recycler. Yep.
Okay, that makes a little bit more sense.
Okay,
I saw that you have all of these bins back here, Roland, so what are they all for?
Let me help you. I'm going to explain a few of the bins that I have, okay? So the first one is, well, I'll show you two. I have this black one here, and I have this white one. And I'm wondering, as you look at the two of these, which one do you think, these are from my house, which one is for recycling and which one is for trash? What do you think? I don't know if you were guessing this, Corey, but this one is the one for trash. The smaller one is for trash and garbage. The bigger one is for recycling. because in my house, we end up having just a small amount of things that we have to really throw away and a whole lot of things that we can recycle, because there are so many things that can be recycled. So we collect those in these containers, and then the things that can be recycled that are in the black container, we put into our blue recycling container that goes at the curb, and a big truck, kind of a big version of this recycling truck, will come every other week and pick it up and take it, and it will get recycled. Isn't that great? Now, I wanted to tell you about those two things first. I'll be explaining some more later, okay?
Okay, those
Yeah.
bins are all really interesting as well, but I'm just wondering, Roland, why is it that we take recycling so serious?
Yeah.
Why do you personally want to take recycling so seriously?
Corey, it's because I'm a Christian. I follow Jesus, I follow God, and I read in the Bible. Hey, right next to my recycling truck, I have my Bible. This is my Bible. It's the story of God and God's people. And if I open to the very front of the Bible in the book of Genesis, we read that God created the earth, everything in it. God, in fact, created the whole universe. It talks about how God created light, and God created day and night, and the seas, and the sky, and the land, and the animals, and the birds, and the fish, and the sun and the moon, and the stars, and people. And when God creates people, Genesis tells us God creates people in God's image. Wow, that is really cool. The cool thing there is that if we are created in God's image, that means that we are similar to God in different ways. That means that we can think and we can make good decisions like God does. That means we can love and we can care and we can serve like God does. That means when God creates God's creation and says it's good and wants to take care of it, we are called to take care of it too. So do you see what I'm saying there? Because I believe in God, and because God made all of this world, and because God cares for this world, I need to care for God's world too.
That's
Yeah.
really amazing that God trusts us to be part of his team to help care for what God made.
Yes, it's
That's-
amazing. It is amazing. Yes.
That's really amazing that we get to be part of that. So I hear about recycling, and now you're talking about God and how we hear about creation in the Bible, but what does recycling have to do with it?
Okay. Well, this is where there are three words that help us care for God's creation. Then they all start with R. It's reduce, reuse, and recycle. Can you guys repeat those after me? Reduce, reuse, and recycle. All of these words help us not to waste so much stuff. See, taking care of God's creation is treating it well. Just as in your house, if you want to treat your home well, you're going to keep it clean. You're going to make it be a healthy environment for you to live. We need to keep God's earth clean and make it healthy and not waste so much. When we waste things, it goes either out and just pollutes everywhere, or it goes to a landfill, can get smelly. Water can get poisoned or can get contaminated by trash, and God's earth doesn't get treated well. So these three words, reduce, reuse, and recycle, are ways that we can create less waste and care for God's creation. So now you're wondering what each of those three words mean. Well, reduce is when we reduce the amount of trash that we create. Okay, so we waste less. We waste less if we only use the amount of water that we really need. We waste less if we eat all the food on our plate and we don't waste some food. I hope you do that. Do you leave a lot of food on your plate when it's mealtime, or do you eat what is there if it's enough for you? We can use our cars less, and we can use public transportation and use our bikes and walk around more. We can also switch off our lights and our TVs when we're not using them, use less electricity. Instead of buying food with a lot of packaging on it, what we do in our household is we will go to the store and we'll get vegetables and we'll bring our own reusable bag and we'll put the vegetables in there or the fruits in there instead of getting all these plastic bags to use. Because those plastic bags all become waste. In fact, there's a lot of plastic bags all in the ocean, just creating waste and really being harmful to ocean animals, fish. So also at my house, we have toys. And instead of buying all new toys, we like to pass on toys when we're finished with them, and then we'll receive toys from other people when we would like some toys that are new to us. Reuse, that's an example of reusing, right? It's reducing, but it's also reusing. So I'm wearing today a lot of clothes that were worn by other people first, okay? I'm reusing them. These shoes I got at REI at a store, and they were at a sale, and they were used before. The socks, they had holes in them, but my wife sewed them up, and now I could have thrown them away, but instead I get to use them for a lot longer. These pants, I got these pants at Goodwill, the Goodwill store. This shirt I got at the Peace Lutheran Church clothing closet, which has lots of clothes that we pass around. This cape, my daughter let me borrow. So I didn't have to buy a new cape. And this hat, somebody passed on to me. In so many ways, we can reuse. We also reuse things. I got a whole container full of examples of this. Would you hold this for me, Corey? You can take something like a rice bag and reuse it as a bag to carry things. There are also all these special reusable cloth bags and strong plastic bags that you don't throw away, you just keep on using them. When you eat something like yogurt, you might want to keep the container, and what I did, Corey, was we put a couple holes in the side, a little twine there, and this goes around our necks when we pick blackberries in the neighborhood as a way to collect the blackberries. We also have some books. Now these books are books that we receive from other people through the little free libraries that are here in the Hilltop neighborhood. And I took a box and I cut the box so that I could have a place to keep the books for our kids so that they can go through and read books. Ways that we can reuse. Also, if I use one side of the paper, I can use the other side later and not waste the paper. These are great ideas. One last thing in here was, I don't know if you do this, but this is a great way to reuse. You take a Ziploc bag, a lot of people just throw it away after using it once. Wash it out, use it again and again and again. That's what we do in our household. So reusing, Corey. And the third thing is recycling, and I began to talk to you a little bit about that. It's really a way to take something and repurpose it so it can be used again. These are great ideas, Corey, for caring for God's creation.
Okay, so I think I get it. God wants us to help God take care of creation.
Yes.
And one of the really big ways that we can actually help do that is to recycle. So if recycling is a really big part of that, now I just need to know what's recyclable, and then I can collect those things and I can recycle them, and I'll be helping?
That's right. Now, it's a little bit tricky because knowing what you can recycle takes a little bit of understanding, learning, okay? So in this particular container, I collect everything that can be recycled in the blue containers with the recycling trucks. And those are things like paper, okay, and cans, as you can see, and plastic bottles, those kinds of things. But there are other things that can be recycled that they won't pick up in the big trucks and you can't put into these blue containers. Those are things like glass. You see, if you have glass containers, please don't throw them away into the trash. Keep them and bring them to a special glass recycling place. There are several places in our city for that. Also, we, in a different bag, collect other things that we have to take to recycling centers, like this plastic, the stretchy plastic, like this, and these clamshell plastic containers. There's also these trays. You can't really put those into these. You got to take them to the recycling center. But knowing all this, we can really care for God's creation well.
Wow, there's a lot that I didn't know was recyclable, Roland, but now that I know that, and I know that the city also provides helpful information, like
Yes.
I've seen pictures sometimes of things I can recycle, but things that I also have to take to the center. So
That's right.
that's really helpful. So now I can start understanding what I can recycle. I'm really glad that we had this summer Bible adventure talk about recycling, and now it's going to be a lot easier for me to help care for creation. Thanks, Roland.
You're welcome. And you know what? You can tell your friends about this. You kids can talk to your parents and your family to see if they can recycle more. You can help them learn, and you guys can learn together. This is really fun, and it's really a great way for us to follow God and to take care of God's creation. I want to ask you a couple questions before we go today. First, we talked a lot about ways to care for God's creation. I'm wondering, is there one particular way to care for God's creation, maybe by reducing or reusing or recycling, that really was important to you, that you learned today, maybe something new? And second, what one thing will you do this week to take care of God's creation? Okay? Thank you, Corey.
Those
All
are
right.
good questions. Thanks,
Yes.
Roland. I'll see you later.
Okay, bye. I'm going to keep going as I'm cleaning up around here, and I'll see you kids very soon. Happy Summer Bible Adventure.